This is part 4 of our grief series. Welcome back to the Brown Skin Blueprint. So today we have a special guest who I'm going to let Shawana introduce. Before we get there, if you sat through part 1, we just kind of touched on grief and relationships. Part 2 was more so about grieving people who are still alive, but we have just had to alter or sever those relationships. Part 3 was, what was part 3, Shawana? Grief.
Grieving expectations.
Grieving expectations. Thank you so much, co-host. Grieving expectations. Of things that we hoped for, planned for, that did not work out the way that we expected them to. And on this episode, we are going to end on a positive note. Grief is very complicated, it's complex, and a lot of times it's just never ending. But we want to discuss good things that can come from grieving, things that, we turn to, healthy coping mechanisms that we turn to kind of get ourselves out of a dark place and ultimately, maybe help someone else. So Shawana, I will turn it to you.
Okie dokie. So guys, I am honored today to introduce our guest. Her name is Danielle Moore. We met in one of my wellness workshops. She was an attendee, and that workshop I did for the first time in person, and God was like, do it even without having a yogi. And I was like, okay, but I'm telling you, this is not my lane. So I did it just from like the regular, like what I do on a daily, like my regular little flow. But I cut, Danny would tell you, I cut that thing so short because I was like, no, like I can't do it. So she just randomly was like, yeah, and I do yoga. And I was like, what? I did pray. But then I was like, no, because I'm always jumping the gun. I'm always running ahead to do something, like thinking that God then sent me somebody, and it don't be the case. So I pulled back and I was like, okay, like, all right, God, because I couldn't find her page. I said, if I'm supposed to work with her, she'll come across my feed. And then lo and behold, Danny posts and not just any picture, y'all. Danny was on a yacht.
A boat. Living my life.
She was on a yacht. And I was like, damn, there she go. I'm pretty sure that's her. But sis came out the workshop guns blazing, she was shining. Shit was crazy. So I hit her up, and Brittany will tell y'all, I don't hit people up. I'd be like, no, God gonna send me my people. I don't hit people up. So I jumped in her DMs and I was like, you remember, I know you said you did yoga, would you be interested? And from there, the rest was history. So I will not further blabber on because I could go on and on. I want to introduce you guys to Danielle. Can you please, Danny, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes. So first of all, thank you for that, opening. I feel, encouraged right now. But yeah, so my name is Danielle. I am a licensed clinical social worker. As far as what I do for a living, I'm an outpatient therapist. I've been doing that for about 3 years now. I'm also a registered yoga instructor. 200 hours. So I've been doing that as well. I've been practicing yoga since 2018. That has been a really big part of my holistic journey through healing. Well, yeah, through healing, definitely through healing. Healing is definitely not a destination. It's a process. So my journey through healing, and I just completed my yoga instructor course June of this year, actually. So yes. That's a little bit about me.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so happy to have you on.
Pisces, Brittany. What?
I love water sign. Well, I love Pisces and Cancer.
Wait, you a whole Scorp rising, right? Unbelievable.
Know that, but I wasn't happy when I found that out either.
Yeah. Same with me and the Cancer moon, because I used to get and I am all Cancer.
Yeah, I love Pisces and Cancer water signs. Them other ones are just
not so special.
So yeah, guys. So like Britt said, this episode we're in like just kind of like on a lighter note, like letting you know that while we feel those intense experiences like grieving expectations and having to like let people go and things not going back to the way they used to, or just, you know, the physical departure from somebody, there is like life while grieving, like while you're navigating and while you're using your coping skills. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have Danny up here was because she's somebody that I have really seen not just be able to tell you, to talk about like what's helpful. Like she really implements things in her lives. Like I see her daily, like she knows how her mind can go busy. So like she walks almost every day. Like the things that she gets out of therapy, like she's literally like physically implementing these things in her lives, to the point where now I'll let her tell the story. But you know, this even making room for her, like as far as like career wise, like, and I just think stuff like that is like amazing. Like it's proof that when you want to do better, you will, per se, and that you can turn something that's not so good of a situation into a better one. So if you could, Danny, can you kind of, you know, in your own words, give us like some background on like your grief story, like your experience and how that altered like your life in certain ways, and then, and you know, kind of, yeah, well, we'll start there. Let's start there.
Yeah, sure. So I lost my father last year, August 2020. However, my process through grief occurred July, with me getting him to the hospital, pretty much. It was a time where I literally was living my life. I neglected my family, literally would just shut them out. And during meditation, it came to me to call my dad's family. So I did. Got him to the hospital July 24th. He was sedated for, well, up until August 1st. So he passed away August 1st. So I think of like my journey through transformation occurring starting in July 2020. But my experience was so different because, of course, no one can tell you how to process grief. No one can even help you through grief. Like that was the loneliest moment that I had in my life. Like it was literally the darkest moment, the loneliest moment, a moment where like my coping skills, it felt like it wasn't helpful, but only because I had to sit with God. It was just me and God. And it's never been an opportunity. I'd never had that opportunity where it was just me and God before like that. So, yeah, I tried to talk to friends. That didn't help. I tried to talk to my family. That did not help. So I literally had to do some inner work while I was falling apart, while I was like distraught. So throughout that, like I guess I found myself with my father passing away. Like we had closure and everything during that time. So it was beautiful, yet painful. And like I said, I feel like I've never had a moment like that where it was just me and God. Like, and I told Shawana so many times, like, it was moments where I didn't even want to be here, but God was like literally keeping me here because there was something else greater than myself on the other side of that. And I definitely look forward to diving more into that. So I won't, do you guys' job by telling the whole story before time. But, I'll just say that it was the most painfulest, happiest, beneficial, yet crippling, again, painful times 1,000 moment in my life. But being a year and a few months in, I've seen a total shift. And I'm so grateful, so grateful for, me still being here, because if not, I think if I would have, not completed the assignment and taken myself out because of the inner pain that I had, I would have been so upset with myself. because who I am today, my God, I'm so grateful. Like
Right.
I have found so much peace, so much passion within myself that last year no one could have told me that this is what I would be doing or feeling or even doing with Shawana, like the courage, all of the things that I have right now. I never would have thought that I would have had them last year. So yeah, definitely testimony within the storm. So lay the questions on me, ladies. I'm ready. I'm on fire already.
You want me to go, Shawana? So first, Danny, so sorry for your loss. A question I have for you is, what was one of the moments where you were kind of like, this is bigger than me? And I'm pretty sure it was nothing that, you know, as we know, it wasn't by mistake, but it probably, like, was it something random and you were just kind of like, okay, this is my sign? So what was one of those moments where you were kind of like, okay, I can see where this is headed in a good way?
So I knew I had an idea in July that God was with me throughout this entire process. I didn't know how it was going to go. I didn't anticipate my father passing away, but I knew that I was called to do something. Gotcha. God has never dropped in my spirit the way that he did that time where I was literally meditating. I've meditated so many different times. Meditation has been a part of my coping skill toolbox since 2018, along with therapy. But this was different. Like I knew that was, you know, him saying, all right, Danielle, you got to do, you know, you have something to do right now. That was the first part. But that moment when I would say the week that we were planning my dad's homegoing service, it was a person. God literally sent a person every single day to help me carry it out. So I knew that God was in the mix. I knew that he had me. I knew that, you know, I knew that I just needed to say yes to him. Honestly, that was the first time that I felt supported by God. Like literally supported by God. So from the time that he told me to do what I needed to do in July, from my father's homegoing to literally just how it felt outside. Like I felt spiritually connected to God. I felt spiritually connected to my father, even though he wasn't even here. Like I gained so much closure during that time too. So that's how I knew. I was like, yeah, God is really orchestrating all of this, because there's no way I should be feeling like relieved, but yet, you know, uncomfortable at the same time. Of course, when you find out somebody passed away, you go through like all of your different stages of grief, but this one was different. Like my grief didn't start fully until I would say the second week of his passing. Like that's when it really hit me that, okay, my dad is not here anymore. Okay, what am I going to do with this? Okay, this is really a thing. But I knew that something was up with me, and I knew that I was never going to be the same afterwards, starting as early as July. But God really put the icing on the cake the first week when I had to facilitate his homegoing. So yeah.
Wow.
So, girl, I'm just like, goodness gracious. So so you knew in that moment it was something bigger than you. Mm-hmm. How long was the period between, because even when we know, we still kind of like, we shut down, there's just an experience we have to go through first most of the time. Mm-hmm. we gotta go through the doubt, the fear, the why is this happening to me, like we hit the bottom. So how long do you think of a transition was it from like knowing what you had to do, but being in the midst of what you had, you know, of your grief, like the deep part of it, mm-hmm. until you were like, okay, now I feel like I can start using some of this stuff. I not like how long of a period was that for you?
So I would say I had little spurts of it, like one moment, okay, yeah, Danielle, you're gonna be fine. You are talking to your therapist, you are doing your yogas. I literally started going on walks in August, like after the homegoing. The homegoing was actually on my father's birthday. So yeah, wow. we literally, like, he passed away August 1st. We laid him to rest August 8th on his birthday. So yeah, so and two, I just feel like even the like the dates and the times were all divine. Like I've never seen anything like it. Like even all of his insurance and all of the bills were paid up until, like all of the bills were taken care of until like maybe like September, October. Like everything was so yeah. So yeah, I won't go ahead of myself, but there was moments where, okay, I was using my skills, everything was fine, but then it seemed like nighttime or like in the early mornings, probably like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, it was where my war zone would start. So I literally was fighting for my life, y'all. Like I literally was fighting for my life. And I think that's another reason why I knew something else was happening, because my grief felt different. Like I literally felt like something was trying to take me up out of here, y'all. Like throughout that. So when my high moments, it was good. I was using my skills, but it was always like early in the morning, or like late at night, where it was like war zone. This is your test. This is where you have to, really dig yourself up out of there. Yeah. And I would say this happened up until like, I would say December. So September, October, November, December, those were like my sensitive periods, I would say, where I wouldn't call it regression, because the stages of grief, you guys know, like you go through so many different stages. But I would say it was that beginning battle is what really had me like really, really, really trying to, just make sense of things and, trying to find my footing. So I would say near late November, early December is when I pretty much started finding that footing, okay. I would say.
Did you have another question, Britt?
No, not right now. I don't.
Okay. So what now, can you kind of touch on what were some of those tools that you used to kind of, so once you started finding your footing, what were some of those tools that you kind of used to like make, boost your energy so that you could have the strength, to get up and actually do something more than just an hour? Like, what were those things that you engaged in that kind of like shifted your routine and stuff for you?
Gotcha. So I'm a big fan of holistic healing and the holistic journey. So I actually did a Reiki session. I don't, if no one's is familiar with it, it's healing through hovering, energetic healing through hovering and touch. I did that in December, and it was so beautiful that, and like the outcome and what I gained from that, it really like sparked something on the inside of me that just reaffirmed, Danielle, yeah, okay, it's time for you to get up, sis, come on. Like we can't choose death because that's the easiest way out for you, because this is painful and you're supposed to sit through this pain. So yoga was like my number one go-to. I even decided that I wanted to go through yoga school. I want to say like around November 26th of last year. So I did yoga school. I didn't tell anybody that I was doing yoga school. So I immediately immersed myself in studying about yoga. I got consistent with my yoga practice. Writing has always been healing for me. So I tapped into every single skill I had. So journaling, I would journal throughout the day. I prayed throughout the day. I sought support from friends who have lost loved ones. Well, preferably parents.
Mm-hmm.
My immediate best friends, they didn't experience anything like that. So I felt super disconnected from everybody. My family, of course, they were going through their own grief at their own time. So me really sitting down and talking to people who've lost their parent, that honestly helped a lot too. So I gained support through that. I even started back writing poetry. Poetry was always a thing of mine. Along with therapy, I literally saw my therapist like weekly. At the time I was doing bi-weekly. So I increased my therapy appointments. I started walking more. My diet was interesting. So I tried to be more intentional with my diet. Cause I lost so much weight. Like I dropped to 165 pounds and I was usually around 180. So I really was just trying to replace that unhealthy stuff that I was doing in my sensitive period. But yeah, that Reiki session really opened my eyes to not, self-loathe or, just pity, like being stuck in pity. So I really just became more consistent with that coping skill piece of the skills that I just mentioned to just kind of ground myself. Oh yeah, meditation. How did I forget that? Meditate. Y'all, I meditated all day long, like every opportunity that I got. I didn't mention that right after my father passed away, I had to step up as supervisor at my job. It was foreign. Like I didn't know what I was doing. So I had all of these different like burdens and barriers like over me, so much pressure that the only way out was through my holistic journey. So I had to write, I had to meditate. Like people didn't understand where I was coming from. So I had to filter that information in some way, shape, or form. Hell, I didn't even know what I was doing. I didn't even know what I was feeling. I felt like my heart was being ripped out of my chest every day, So I really had to reconnect to nature, like walking. And I didn't even go back to the gym. I just walked. And also that was one of my dad's favorite things to do. Like he would walk in the mornings and stuff like that. So I really implemented things that he did to kind of give me some sort of peace. I felt like every time I would go outside, I was connected to him. Like even when we laid him to rest, it was like thunderstorming throughout one part, but then the sun came out so bright and it just looked like the heaven gates were open. So I had to like literally ground myself in that way. Sorry if that was a long-winded.
You're fine.
Yeah, my bad.
You're good.
I'm sucked in. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. That's amazing. Seriously, that is definitely amazing. Can you speak more to like finding support and people who have lost parents? Because I tell people all the time, it's a club nobody wants to be a part of, but it's a very real club. So just the importance of kind of finding those people who have had that same experience as you.
Yeah. So one thing that helped me was being honest with myself. I literally, like my friends were my coworkers. I made a lot of good connections at work. And two of my coworkers in particular, one had lost their mother, the other had lost their father. One had a beautiful relationship with their father. The other had sort of rocky experience with their mother. So I was able to like put myself, like I was able to connect with them on a different level. More so like the holiday seasons were coming up and I was like, hey, how do you handle this? And they gave me ideas. So, and I even, just reached out to them on the holidays saying, hey, I'm struggling. So I really had to be vulnerable, and I had to be open and honest with myself. You know, if it was a moment where I had some suicidal thoughts, I was able to say, hey, I'm struggling to this person, you know, any tips for me? Like, no, I'm not gonna, I'm a therapist. I know I'm not gonna do anything to, find myself at Maryview Hospital. But so I was like, I'm not that, I'm not there. It's not severe,
Yeah.
I'm just, it's a lot of pressure right now. So I really had to be open and honest with myself. Me being in my truth has been the most important thing in this journey. Cause you can lie all day long and say, oh yeah, like I'm good. Yeah. No, the hell I was not okay. And I had to be okay with telling somebody, yo, I need assistance. I don't trust anybody else right now. Like, I don't want sympathy. I don't want anybody putting themselves in my shoes. I need people who know, like, how this experience felt. Because the worst thing that a person that's trying to be supportive is saying is, I didn't lose a parent. Okay, I don't need to hear that. Just be there with me, sit with me.
Yeah.
And most of the time, that's all I needed was somebody to sit with me and just listen and, just encourage me. But that's one part of it. But then two, me being real with my friends and say, y'all, like, I need us to come together. Like, not even that. I would say, because I didn't do a lot of talking, but my friends literally reached out to me, and they really wanted to help. They really wanted to support. So I guess I would say knowing who to go to at certain stages, at certain points was super helpful for me. And not isolating. Oh my gosh, isolation was my default. And I literally, I don't know, I just remember another coworker. So it was three coworkers, but I literally would text one particular coworker and be like, yo, I'm isolating. Please just, keep saying something to me, like here and there. I just had to tell somebody, yo, okay, I'm feeling this way again, and not feeling like a burden, because I did feel that way at times, because like I wasn't myself anymore, or I wasn't like jolly, happy Danielle all the time. So I really just had to tell people what I need. And I think that's where we struggle in grief, is that we may not know what we need, but we can tell somebody that we don't know what we need. Just having that communication, just having that connection. But I think the most dangerous thing is shutting off, isolating yourself, not talking to anybody, because no one can intervene. There's no intervention for that.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, I commend you. Like I feel and hear like strength when I just listen to like, you was warring, like you was really warring. And I don't know, man, a lot of people just choose to, cause it's so hard. They just choose to. And I don't know. I've been in really low places. I don't know if I've allowed myself to think some of the stuff that probably wanted to come up, but I know how it feels to feel like you almost ain't got nothing left. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like this, I'm on a rock. And it's something, it's a little arc in my back with a little bit of space, but if I breathe too hard, like it's gonna be it. So man, it just, I don't know. It's refreshing to hear that, to see that. Like, so honor you and your journey, your healing journey, because that was a lot. And yeah, hats off.
Thank you.
Definitely.
So, yeah. So now I kind of want to twist to how current day, these same things that you were warring with, using as war tools, like pulling you out of these dark places and what brought you peace and solitude and peace of mind during that time, kind of shed some light on current day, how that has like become like an everyday part of your life again. Not that you ever stop, but more so on okay, now I'm helping other people, like kind of give us shed some light on how that's transitioned to now.
Yeah. So I would say the number one thing that I've gained from this experience is my voice. Having to advocate for yourself when you don't know what's going on is super difficult. So I would say that my self-awareness has really increased. Shawana, she goes on about this all the time, that she loves my self-awareness, but being self-aware has really kind of like shifted me in a way that like now my mind will not go, not necessarily saying that it won't go there, won't get dark, but I know what I'm up against now. I know how strong I am now. Like me looking back on last year, I am definitely not that person anymore. I barely question God as much as I did in that moment. So now that I feel like I found my spiritual footing, I found peace in the assignment of, you know, sending dad to his resting place, where I love myself. Like I love me. Like I love how I feel now. So my inner peace is now the assignment. And I've really devoted that. I've devoted that into like just going for things. Like the workshop, for example, I literally was there on my dad's birthday. Like it was August 8th of last year. I just started like trusting myself and trusting God, trusting that God is going to do whatever it is that he told me that he was going to do years ago. Like even things that I've heard through prophecy and things of that sort, with going to church and all of that stuff started manifesting since dad has passed away. So it's kind of like I was being built up for this, well, for last year, for that particular assignment. So how I've redirected that is just like knowing my truth, staying in the word, really examining myself when I feel off or when I feel like I need to refill myself. And that's where yoga comes in, y'all. Like, again, I picked up a yoga course, yoga school, 200 hours online last year. And I literally put my pain into learning something new and something that has helped me. Like yoga literally has been my rock since 2018. And I didn't know how effective it could be until I had no choice but to just do it. Like that was the only thing that really helped me connect to myself throughout that time. So honestly, me using those coping skills last year and me seeing how it is to be consistent with something, me feeling that consistency, like it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So me tapping in every day or at least 3 times a week with my yoga practice and even helping others now has been so refreshing, because I know what yoga can do for me. I know what Reiki has done for me. I know what journaling has done for me. So me just being consistent with it, y'all, like that's consistency was a thing, was a big thing. And it still is a big thing when I look back on that.
Okay.
Does that answer the question? Does that answer it?
What, I'm scared to use the word advice. What tips? I'll say tips. Like what can you give people who feel like they're looking for that thing to either kind of help them, whether it be a coping mechanism or, you know, maybe something positive that they can do? Because, you know, a lot of times with grieving, there are those negative, I don't want to say negative, unhealthy coping mechanisms that we tap into. So somebody who may be like, look, I need something, I'm trying to find something and I can't find it. Do you have any tips for somebody that's in that space?
Yes, I do. My favorite one was letter writing. It's not difficult. All you got to do is get a little notebook and just write a letter, you know, either to the person who passed away or the person or you're writing a letter to, you know, your feelings, writing a letter to your grief, putting things on paper just so you can kind of see like, oh, wow, this is where my mind went. And well, free writing in general, like just writing without a purpose. You might start with, okay, dear grief, and you just allow it to flow, like with, you know, with no restrictions, no restraints, just free writing. I would say starting there could really help a person tap into like what's really going on. Even finding like grief groups on Facebook. I'm not really active on Clubhouse, but if, you know, kind of looking on Clubhouse, just kind of see if there's any grief groups there. Also, too, if the person knows like another person that might have gone through grief, I would say connect with them, because no one's going to tell you how to get through this piece, but you can be supportive by somebody that knows how it feels. And I feel like that's what I needed. I needed somebody that experienced that with me. So, and also too, maybe learning a new skill, depending on the severity of your grief now. Now, if you're already overwhelmed and down and out, you know, that might not be the way to go. But something just came up. It's really, really good too. Deep breathing exercises. Period. If no one remembers anything else that I said, deep breathing, just at least breathing, can really help you feel grounded. Like, because sometimes when you're grieving, you feel like you're not here. You really feel like you're not connected to anything. So, you know, doing some breathing exercises or tapping into what they've done before. Like, okay, if you've experienced some hard times before, well, what helped you? So you reusing those skills that they already have. Like, okay, do you work out? You know, do you do Pilates? Do you do yoga? You know, really tapping into that type of stuff can really help. But my favorite was the letter writing. That was like a really big one for me. Letter writing, meditation, and just breathing and seeking support. That's what I would say. And giving yourself compassion. Oh my gosh, compassion and grace, because it's difficult. One day you'll be fine. The next day you're crying at the restaurant that your parent or your loved one used to go to, you know, and which might be, I think this is healthy. I felt like it was healthy when I did it. Don't be alarmed, y'all, I swear. But going to different places that my father loved. So again, like he loved going outside. So I went outside, you know, I walked around. I went to the waterfront that's in, you know, in my area, or even going to like a restaurant. Like his favorite place was Rally's, y'all. So on them nights I was sad as hell, I was like, all right, let me pull up the Rally's. Let me get a milkshake. You know, let me get a number one or something like that. And the last thing though, the last thing that I found so important to me, and I think this would be super important for anyone that's listening too, is just having a book of memories, like writing memories. That's what I did. Like once a month, I would go to the beach, sit and just write. And it was a separate journal. Like I recalled a memory when I was young, and you know what we did, or what name he would call me, like what was my nickname, or the funny stories that he used to tell us, or you know, words of wisdom. So stuff like that really, I needed something tangible. I needed something that I can hold. I needed something that I can read through. That memories journal was so impactful for me. Shout out to my therapist for putting me onto that and letter writing. But yeah, those things.
Oh, guys, I just feel, I don't know, I just feel so warm right now. I feel like I don't know. This is just okay. So don't mind me. I think I'm just completely simp and emotional today anyway. So Brittany, I wanted to ask you. So since we're talking about the things, Danny kind of gave us some of the things that she recommends. What did you use? What helped you not come out of, because again, grieving is like not a one-time thing. So, but what was some of the things you used to come out of your dark place?
It's a loaded question. Honestly, trying to find my identity. So kind of learning myself as an adult, as a newly married adult, as a recent fellow social worker here, as a recent, I had just graduated my MSW, and then my dad passed like 6 weeks later. So there was a lot of transitioning happening when my dad passed. Mm-hmm. So definitely trying to tap into myself and figure out, okay, who is this person? Because I was in a different location. So starting there, definitely memories, looking at his old photo albums, things like that. Writing for sure, which has always been a coping mechanism of mine, which is how I ended up blogging and talking about it, because I just felt like I know there's other people out there who have experienced this. Only at the time, I had only had like one other childhood friend who had lost a parent. So I did feel isolated in that sense, because I'm like, nobody like understands the severity of this. So that kind of made me talk about it, so I could find other people. That made me write about it, so I could connect to other people who had lost a parent. What else? Just giving myself grace to understand that, nobody understands what I am missing since my father has passed. Nobody experienced our relationship like I did. Mm-hmm. And not feeling the need to explain to somebody why I was having a bad day, why being certain places, may trigger me, why certain dates may trigger me. So definitely kind of just embracing my journey for what it was, and, understanding, hey, some people not gonna get this. Some people gonna think it's something wrong with me. That's their business. Like, I am very much so still on a grief journey, and it has been 7 years, and I'm probably always going to be on this grief journey, which is so weird, because that's how my dad used to talk about his mom. She passed before I was born, but he spoke very highly of her. He talked about her all the time. So it's weird, because it's almost like he was preparing me to be in a situation that he was. So me just knowing that, things I experience are not abnormal. Feelings I experience are not abnormal. So definitely writing and trying to connect to other people, and just knowing that, this is, an unfortunate experience for me, but it is a part of my life, and it's a part of my story. And just making sure, I think about him in everything I do. That's why my author pen name is Brittany D. I wear a D on my neck. My other necklace has his whole name on it. So he's with me. Yeah, exactly. He's with me all the time. So for me, I just kind of feel like, I had to make this journey my own, because I really did not have an example outside of like older people who had lost parents. And as we know, the generation before us and the one before us, they grieve or have grieved very differently than I feel like we do. There's a lot less talking about things. I feel like a lot of things are laughed about rather than processed. So kind of just being okay with, I felt isolated for years, if I'm being honest. so just working through that and being okay with the fact that this was something I was gonna have to figure out on my own. Like nobody was really gonna be able to help me with it. So that's kind of some things that I would say got me out of the dark side of grieving.
So it's interesting to me because when I hear y'all talk about like how y'all like my dark place of grief, I feel like how y'all have grieved like people, I have grieved people alive. Like it's still, even though, because we talked about that in part 2, I'd be like, dang, like like it's grief does not care. I say that. Because I feel like my moments of my turnaround points, like me figuring out what works for me and me feeling like having to find my identity and who I wanted to be, because I never freaking knew, because all I knew was people pleasing and all that. That was from grieving like an expectation of somebody, or knowing that this person here will never be able to actually fulfill the role that they were put here for, like those type of things. Because I feel like that's how I came about meditation. Like I just knew, I felt like that was during the period where I was just, I felt like I was relationship hopping. Like if one person did something that I felt like was wrong or red flag, on to the next one. And that's around the time I met Brittany too. It was like, I refused to put up with anybody's stuff, and I was hopping around. And I just remember waking up one morning when I was in one particular relationship and just being like, I'm in therapy, because I had sense enough to get in therapy. I was like, but I'm not, I need something else. And I just remember waking up being like, I think I need to start meditating. And I can't remember how. And then I remember YouTubing it. I got on YouTube and I laid and did like a guided one. And from there, I was like, oh, this is kind of like soaking when I was in church and stuff. Like just kind of like that kind of spiritual situation. And now you could not have told me that I would be guiding meditations, a tool that I was just using to try to come out of the dark, out of a dark place, or feeling like I was losing myself, like just literally feeling like I was unraveling. I resonated just so deeply when you said how breathing makes you like remember you're here, because I was floating. I was on autopilot for so long. Like I did not feel my body. I was just here. And that is just, I don't know. I feel like being able to hear all three of us just sit and talk, like how much of a brighter life we've been able to live, even though we still have dark moments, even though we have lost really, really really deep connections that were, close to us and deep in our hearts. There's still so much joy on the other side of that. And that's why I just felt like it was so important for us to have this conversation, because we go deep and we hit those, the stuff that nobody wants to talk about, but because of that, we're able to thrive on such another, on a whole nother level. So I could probably sit here and just listen to y'all talk like all day about this and just and reflect. It makes me feel good, especially after the day I've had to y'all. Like this has been very refreshing, and I'm just honored to be sitting here. So have this conversation, honestly.
So. Yes, I think this is a great positive note to end the grief series on, because Shawana, as you and I have discussed, those are some very heavy episodes. Yeah. So this is nice to end with this one, because that was a lot, them other three, but I do appreciate it was. I kept listening back like, geez, like somebody could like use this for a group, like a therapeutic group to dissect. Yeah. So which one are you? Because, there's a lot to go off of here. But to piggyback off of what you just said, I do think it's important to highlight that, there is another side to it. As complicated as grief is, it does have a way of bringing, good things, good people, and creating like just a different journey for you. So yeah, I'm glad we ended on this note.
Yeah. I guess the last thing that I would say is becoming comfortable with this being a never-ending wound is important. Like, I'm never going to be 100% healed from this, and that's okay. Like, I'm more than okay. I'm more than capable of mending what I need to mend within this particular wound. I can bandage myself back up. through my higher power and through my coping skills and through my support system. But I think just really recognizing that, it's okay. This is going to be a forever thing for me. Just like our healing journey is a forever thing. So that doesn't mean that, I can't overcome it or adapt through it. It's just one of those things that needs more nurturing and more time. And honestly, that's okay. Because this is only year 1 in a few months for me. I have forever to go. So,
yeah, for sure.
So, Brittany, you have anything else?
I don't. What she said. This is it's ongoing. It never. You kind of adapt to the person just not being here. But it is a forever thing. For sure.
So guys, this has been the grief series.
Yeah.
Wow. Like I'm trying to find words, y'all, because I was like, period. Like that's it.
That's it.
But I will
closing it out.
Yeah, like there was nothing else to say. But I do want you to plug yourself. Like you didn't go all the way until your transition because damn Danny is she do one-on-one sessions. Okay, it's Soul Out Yoga. I'm gonna let her plug herself. But listen, period. This girl out here yogi in the 757. So can you talk about it?
I was trying to be humble, y'all. I'm here, but no, yes, I definitely provide one-on-one services for yoga. Y'all pray for us for a space. So that I can do more groups because I really do want to do more groups. I've just been trying to find a space for it. But virtual groups, virtual one-on-ones, Instagram Soul Out Yoga, y'all. Follow me. Me and Shawana be doing our thing with the yoga and meditation. So definitely that. Oh, y'all, and Soul Out Yoga. The funny thing about that is that it came last year too. The name came last year. Like I literally built myself from the ground up with yoga, to be honest. It all came from my ashes, me burning myself down, I guess, or I guess the journey or my, my struggle pains or whatever, or healing pains rather. I had to find something. I had to find that something. I had to find some sort of outlet, and me releasing that stuff from my body is really, why Soul Out Yoga is a thing, because you heal from the inside out. And that's what we do at Soul Out Yoga. So, and that's on period. Shoot.
Oh my God. So yeah, y'all. Follow Danny, Soul Out Yoga. Thank you for kicking it up. Yeah, kicking it with us like you always do. Follow us on everything Brown Skin Blueprint.
Yes.
We're on almost every streaming platform. We're still waiting on iHeart. But we're on everything else. So make sure you stream us, subscribe to the YouTube channel. On Twitter, I think we're Brown Skin BP Pod, I believe.
Don't give me the line.
I'm gonna try to do better in 2022.
I ain't even never posted on the Twitter page, so you would know better than I do. So
I be forgetting about that thing, but yeah,
I do too all the time.
So yeah, y'all follow us and tune in for season 3.